The bodies were dried and stacked layer upon layer, hidden in their own pigsty. Shen Weshi actually said it was to lighten the burden on society. What happened? Li Zongping's home is well known in the village because it is famously haunted. Many villagers have seen it at night on the wall of Li Zongping's house. A woman floated by, her face pale and her eyes glowing red. The head was tilted back at a strange angle. At first, everyone thought it was Li Zongping's wife, Shi Zhengxie. But how could Shi Zhengxie, who has been paralyzed in bed since childhood, possibly climb up such a high wall? Moreover, foul smells often emanated from Li Zongping's home. Li Zongping simply explained that his family's pigpen was not good, and pigs often died for no apparent reason. I found someone to dig a new pigpen for just 5 yuan. The person digging the pig pen is Song Rentu, who has been working day and night at Li Zongping's house for 3 days now. Today I finally finished digging the pigpen, and I thought I could take the money and enjoy a good meal. But he never expected that this pigpen was actually prepared for him. Just as Song Rentu was happily checking out and leaving, he suddenly felt something trip his foot. Looking down, it turned out to be the greedy and shameless Shi Zhengxie from this family. She lay on the ground, tightly hugging Song Ren's legs, constantly shouting at her speaker. Just as Song Rentu's attention was drawn away by her, the short Li Zongping struck Song Ren on the back of the head with a hammer. Li Zongping's action was not enough to kill Song Renhu on the spot. He retaliated by hitting Song Ren's head more than 10 times before stopping. After Song Rentu died, Li Zongping stripped him of all his clothes, then neatly placed into the freshly dug pig's den. Looking at his masterpiece, Li Zongping felt an inexplicable excitement in his heart, because he was getting closer to his goal. As long as I kill 103 people, I can be reborn. What Li Zongping didn't expect was that this time he had failed. A few days later, Song Rentu's relatives found out who he last saw. Li Zongping was taken to the police station. Claiming that Li Zongping killed Song Rentu, the police looked at Li Zongping's slender frame. The timid gaze simply couldn't believe he could kill. The family of Song Rentu spoke convincingly, and to appease them, send police officers to investigate Li Zongping's home. This trip uncovered a shocking major case. As soon as the police officer stepped into the house, he smelled a damp, foul odor. Suddenly, the seasoned old officer became alert. So he quietly climbed over the wall and sneaked into Li Zongping's house. First, I checked the yard and found nothing. Then the old police officer planned to go inside and take a look. As soon as he opened the door, he was hit by a strong, damp stench. The dark little room had no light at all. Even the walls were a dark, inky black. I don't know what that thing is on the ground. Sticky and gooey underfoot. Just when the old police officer didn't know where to start, a silvery voice came from behind him. It is Li Zongping's wife, Shi Zhengxie. She squatted on that bed, emitting a foul odor, speaking nonsense line by line. The old policeman looked at the woman as if she had gone mad. Didn't say much more to her, but she noticed the gaze of Shi Zhengxie, occasionally drifting towards the top of the bed. They keep saying they are watching me. This immediately aroused the suspicion of the police officer. Decided to go up and take a look. This sight nearly scared her soul away. Only 2 naked men were seen on the grid. I don't know how long it has been left. It's already started to rot. The skin of the 2 corpses is stuck together, no longer distinguishing between mud and loam. The wetness continues to seep down, dripping drop by drop onto the bed where Shi Zhengxie lay. Shi Zhengxie on the bed doesn't care about these. Still rambling on about nonsense. This group of people isn't wearing clothes. They are really shameless. Every day I walk around the yard. They can't get out, The old police officer heard Shi Zhenxiang's nonsense. Lai Ma immediately felt that something was wrong. "I'm afraid there are more than just these two bodies at Li Zongping's house." So I hurried back to the police station. Later, the police found 3 pigs in Li Zongping's pigpen. A total of over 40 bodies were discovered. They were all stripped of their clothes. Layer upon layer, like goods stacked up, the horses were neatly arranged. These bodies had been stacked for too long, causing the skin to stick together. During the later interrogation, Li Zongping just said that the house is too small. This arrangement makes full use of the space and is very convenient. They also said this is to lighten the burden on society. In truth, it is oneself who wishes to express gratitude. All right, this story concludes here. Like and follow us. See you next time. Song Ren, too, is a taxi driver. That night, he encountered a female passenger who was hailing a ride. The other party was wearing a very short skirt, with a curvaceous figure and dressed very alluringly. At a glance, it's clear they just came out of a nightclub. Song Ren believed his romantic encounter had finally arrived. He immediately stopped the car in front of the girl. The girl's figure is incredibly hot. Seeing the Song people left him utterly bewildered. After the girl got in the car, she started chatting amiably with Song Ren. He also asked if the Song people get tired driving every day. Song Ren, too, usually wouldn't be cared for by such a beautiful woman. I hurriedly replied to her, it's okay, just sitting often. The legs will always hurt." When the girl heard Song Ren to say this, unexpectedly he came over to grind her thigh root. Honest Song people had never seen such a spectacle. Suddenly her face turned red. I hurriedly asked her what she wanted to do. The girl said, "Don't be afraid, big brother. My name is Jin Lion, and my home is just ahead. I just want to give you a massage. Let me make you comfortable. How about you come home and let me try my techniques on you, little sister?" Song Ren's head was slightly dazed from Jin Lion's teasing, but she couldn't help but think about the recent disappearances of many taxi drivers. For a moment, I was actually a bit scared. Jin Lion saw that the Song people were not on the right path. Lai Ma immediately lost her earlier tenderness. I want to get off halfway. Song Ren's head no longer looked at Jin Lion with affection. The little hand that used to massage my thigh is gone. I also feel empty. So he quickly agreed to go home with Jin Lion. After all, such extraordinary people are rare in this world. But once he left, the Song man never returned to Jin Lion's home. Once again I discovered she was. Song Ren's head has already turned into a corpse beside the park. She has multiple knife wounds on her body. Died a tragic death. The police investigated for several days with no progress, until Li Zongping ran into the police station covered in blood. This case has made a groundbreaking breakthrough. Li Zongping claimed, while driving my private car near the airport, encountering a young blonde woman hitchhiking. The woman said it was too late to get a taxi. Li Zongping wanted to give her a ride home. After returning home, I will give Li Zongping some kickbacks. Li Zongping noticed that the woman's appearance was quite good. Her outfit is also quite spicy. So the bonus for making the call can't just depend on you. Little did he know that the woman actually took the initiative to come closer. Start teasing Li Zongping. That technique is exactly the same as this year. Li Zongping was driving while being teased by the woman. After sending her home, the two people hurried towards the rental house. Li Zongping, filled with joy, never expected that. After entering the rental apartment, there were actually 5 or 6 burly men inside. Looking at her with ill intentions, Li Zongping sensed that something was wrong. "I'm afraid I'll have to suffer tonight." quickly turned around to run, but the door behind was also blocked by three big men. Li Zongping realized he could no longer escape. He also appointed people to deal with corrupt officials. Brothers, take it easy. Li Zongping was quickly knocked to the ground, unable to resist. These people are extremely vicious. Every morning, they strike at the vital points of others. They just want to rob and kill. After a while, those people saw Li Zongping lying on the ground without moving. I thought he was dead. They took his wallet and car keys. The boss also instructed his subordinates. Sell the car first, then find a random place. Li Zongping has been dealt with. But who knows that Li Zongping has 180 tricks up his sleeve, pretending to be dead, then taking advantage of their distraction while they were dividing the loot, quietly crawled to the door, opened it, and ran out. By the time that group of people reacted, Li Zongping had already run out to the street. Asking passers-by for help, the police listened to Li Zongping's confession, quickly organized the police force, controlled the corrupt officials. A total of 16 people were captured, including 10 men and 6 women. Their division of labor is allowed. The woman seems to have personal motives. The man committed robbery and murder. The last 16 people were sentenced to death for killing multiple individuals. This case is also referred to by the driver as the six-plot woman case. The man brought his fiancée to the pigpen. The woman joyfully prepared to play poker in the pigsty. What exactly happened in the pigpen? Li Zongping, who lives in Henan province. Recently, there has been a joyful event. I am going to marry Jin Lion from the neighboring village. And according to Jin Lion, she has never been in a relationship. Still a yellow flower, the young lady, Li Zongping, was extremely satisfied with all of this. As the wedding date approaches, Jin Lion also followed the local customs, checked into Li Zongping's house 3 days in advance. The next day, Jin Lion couldn't help but wear a sexy swimsuit, come to find Li Zongping to secretly learn swimming lessons. During the learning process, Li Zongping was very excited, but the next day he noticed something was wrong. Jin Lion enjoyed herself more than ever last night. The welcome was warmer than that of the little sister at the village massage parlor. Didn't she say she has never been in a relationship? Does Jin Lion only talk about money and not feelings? Li Zongping angrily questioned Jin Lion. What is going on here? Qi Jinlian, however, was completely indifferent as she spoke to Li Zongping. Why do you care so much? Aren't you the one I enjoy the most? Spent so much money on our own home. In the end, I married such a deceitful person. Li Zongping, in a fit of anger, he unexpectedly brought Jin Lion to the pigpen outside the village. He stripped her of her clothes again. Let Jin Lion stay here with my family's pigs. He took the clothes and went home. It was not until the wedding day that Jin Lion was brought back. Jin Lion returned without being angry, still proudly said to Li Zongping, "Pigs are stronger than you." Li Zongping was completely infuriated by Jin Lion. Li Zongping, who was blinded by anger, picked up the red veil beside her, in their own wedding house, in the wardrobe nearby, then returned to the wedding venue. Pretend that nothing ever happened. The wedding between myself and Jin Lion continued. Not long after, everyone noticed that the bride was missing. Li Zongping pretended to call Jin Lion, gather everyone to search, even cried on the spot in sadness, just when everyone thought Jin Lion was faking her marriage. Or when she ran off with that pretty boy, Li Zongping revealed a proud smile. When everyone departed that night, Li Zongping took out the hidden gold and lotus from the wardrobe, carried back to the old pigsty. He believes Jin Lion is not pure. not worthy of wearing this bridal gown. Only a chef girl is worthy of herself. So he tore off Jin Lion's clothes again, then sealed the pigpen all around with plastic. Put Jin Lian together with the pig from her home. After everything was set up, Li Zongping returned home with a sense of satisfaction, slept beautifully for a night. The next day, pretending to be serious, they went to the police station to report, claiming that his wife from the White Kingdom has gone missing. On the wedding day, Jin Lion has disappeared. After the police took on this case, began visiting the villagers. But the villagers said they did not see Jin Lian leave the village. This raised the police's suspicions. Jin Lian may have already been murdered. Finally, the police found it in the abandoned pigpen on the back mountain. Found the lifeless Jin Lian, completely naked. After the police examination, it was confirmed that Jin Lian was strangled to death by someone. The body was thrown here. The police found a brand new padlock at the scene. I confirmed again at the village grocery store. Recently, only Li Zongping has made a purchase. Li Zongping was arrested as a major suspect. Cleverness can sometimes lead to one's own downfall. A plan that one thinks is flawless, but was easily cracked by the police. In the end, Li Zongping suffered because of his own foolishness. Sentenced to death, a beautiful woman seduces a man and played poker with him. Then the man was killed. What on earth is going on? Once upon a time, there was a young man named Li Zongping. Every day I do nothing but tease cats and dogs, although he is a stubborn child. But on ordinary days, they often play tricks, doing good deeds. On this day, Li Zongping woke up early. From afar, I saw a figure standing on the bridge, graceful and charming, a family member with a graceful figure. Li Zongping only looked at his back. I just feel like they are an extraordinary family member. So he hurriedly grabbed the birdcage and rushed over. He walked around to the front of the woman and looked. Indeed, it is the beauty I long to see. The woman carried a large bag and several smaller ones. It seems like they are in a hurry. Li Zongping hurriedly struck up a friendly conversation. The woman said she was being chased by villains and had nowhere to hide. I hope Li Zongping can save her life. If I can escape this disaster, willing to offer myself. Li Zongping listened. I can't believe such a good opportunity has come to my doorstep. So he quickly pulled the woman back to his home. Only after asking thoroughly did I find out. It turns out this woman was sold by her family to make some money. Every day it's either beating or scolding. I can't endure this kind of life anymore. Just took the chance to escape while no one was watching. After the woman moved in, Li Zongping checks on her daily, asking about her well-being. Occasionally, I also buy some small gifts. Please her. A few days later, the two actually slept together. Ever since being with this woman, Li Zongping's health was deteriorating day by day. That day he went out to buy some supplements, make up for the emptiness of these days. I happened to encounter a situation. The Taoist held on to Li Zongping. He has a darkened forehead. It seems we've attracted something unclean. Li Zongping heard this. Isn't this one of those money scamming tricks? Next, it will tell how he was bewitched by a female ghost. To help him exorcise the evil spirits and dispel the cold, so he gave the Taoist a good scolding. Then I angrily went home. After returning home, Li Zongping increasingly felt that something was off. The woman who brought herself home. Every day I look perfectly made up. Not only that, I still feel incredibly unmatched. Every time I sleep with her, everyone feels physically exhausted. Could it be that I've encountered a female ghost that frightens the soul? So Li Zongping took advantage of the darkness, silently sneaking to the woman's residence. She listened to the strong winds outside the window for half the day, but the room was very quiet. She poked a hole in the window paper with her finger, peeking quietly into the room. Seeing this made her blood run cold. It turns out that the beauty I sleep with every day, now it has become a fierce ghost with red hair turned away. This vengeful spirit is suffering. Lying flat on the table is a human skin. Carefully applying makeup with a brush, after half a day of painting, the vengeful spirit wears human skin. Pulling it taut again, she became the beautiful woman she was on ordinary days. Li Zongping looked at these, thinking about meeting with this ugly monster every day. How could I dare to stay longer? Quickly scrambled out of the yard. I rushed to find the Taoist I met during the day, but the Taoist said, "I have more important things to attend to." She was only given a handheld feather duster. Let her take it back. A gust of wind brushed against the eaves. Li Zongping carried Fu Chen home. Hiding in the house, I no longer dared to seek that beautiful woman. Just want to hold on for a few days. Wait for the Taoist to return to save my life. Who would have thought that the vengeful spirit would come knocking? Standing outside the door, questioning, "You heartless man, why not come to find the Wu family? Still calling her your little sweetheart, ha?" At this moment, the fierce ghost had lost its usual beauty. Scoffing, ye spoke sweet nothings. He wanted to push the door into the Wu family to harm Li Zongping, but was injured by the deist's whisk, burned his human skin. The fierce ghost realized it could no longer pretend. Simply peel off the human skin. Meng was on the Fu Chen. He took the opportunity to break down the door. Arriving in front of Li Zongping, "You heartless man, I will dig out your heart to use as a wine basin." Having said that, he stretched out his claws. A curved blade pierced Li Zongping's heart and left. Soon after the vengeful spirit left, the Taoist hurried back. However, Li Zongping is already dead. He is powerless to turn back time. I must first find that evil spirit. To prevent him from harming others again, the Taoist arrived at the place where the vengeful spirit had lived. Used a secret method from a side story, it is said that one can be completely captivated, following the scent I chased after it. At this moment, the vengeful spirit had donned a new guise. Becoming an octogenarian woman, the deist priest saw the old woman. It is clear that she has transformed into a vengeful spirit. Removing the waist accessory reveals a single character. Evil spirits are not a match for Taoist priests. Bursting out the door, but was struck in the heart by the Taoist at first sight. Then a glimmer appeared. The head of the vengeful spirit separated from its body. The vengeful spirit has been dealt with. The Taoist turned back and told Li Zongping's wife, "Go to meet an old beggar. Maybe we can still save Li Zongping." Li Zongping's wife hurriedly went out to the street. Finally, under a tree, I found the old beggar who smelled terrible. The old beggar listened to the story behind it. He picked his nose and said with a grin, "Li Zongping is infatuated with the four. Deservedly, this is the consequence. To save him, it depends on whether Li Zongping's wife is sincere." He forcefully spat out a mouthful of phlegm. "Make Li Zongping's wife eat it. They say that as long as you swallow this old phlegm, Li Zongping is saved." For her husband, Li Zongping's wife could only endure her disgust. "Lick this old phlegm clean. Who knows after eating?" The old beggar unexpectedly laughed heartily and walked away. Li Zongping's wife realized she had been played. It can't be helped. I could only return home and weep while holding my husband's corpse. She cried sorrowfully, "Add that old phlegm." Suddenly feeling nauseous, I let out a snort while picking my nose. spat into Li Zongping's wound. Who knows that miraculous things have happened? In Li Zongping's wound, it unexpectedly grew another heart. Zhang was beating gently. Li Zongping actually came back to life. A man plays poker with a female internet celebrity. Zhang Hong deceives the beautiful woman to return home and send her family. Who would have thought the beautiful woman was actually a strong man? 38-year-old Song Ren too, working at a high-end hair salon, often interacting with various wealthy influencers. So, the anxious Song Ren began to entertain crooked thoughts about marriage. He pretended to be the salon owner. He deceived quite a few small influencers into dating him. There is also the purpose of returning home to pay respects to the ancestors, trying to lure Jin Lion to go home and marry him. Little did Jin Lion know that after returning home with him, it turns out that Song Ren is just a complete broke. It can be said that the house was empty. Even the window paper is torn. Jin Lion started to curse directly. Who knows that Song Rentu was scolded to the point of fury? The two people started fighting right on the spot. At that moment, Song Rentu finally understood. Jin Lion, who has been by my side day and night, is surprisingly strong. He is a man. Song Ren was momentarily enraged. He actually strangled Jin Lion to death. After strangling it, he threw the body into the Yellow River, thinking that Jin Lian would be swept away by the current. This way, one can cover up their wrongdoings without anyone noticing. Who knows? A bizarre event occurred a few days later that shocked the locals. On this day, the young Li Zongping went fishing by the river. After squatting for a while, I didn't catch a single fish, because on the shore not far from him, there are a few pieces of clothing and shoes laid out. It seems there are children swimming in the river nearby. You can look around. There was no sign of anyone in the river. Li Zongping didn't manage it. Walking further away, planning to continue fishing, just at that moment, he heard several calls. It sounds like someone is shouting for help. Li Zongping, who was feeling a bit drowsy. Suddenly I was startled. He searched up and down the river for half a day, but not even a splash of water was seen. Li Zongping looked at the clothes on the shore. My heart suddenly sank. He knew something was probably wrong. So they hurried back to the village. The village's body retrieval team quickly arrived. 2 corpse retrieval teams became small boats. In this body of water with a fishing rod, collecting corpses everywhere. After a while, I finally hooked something heavy in the shallow water. That thing is heavy as lead. 2 adults couldn't pull it. No one knows what that really is. The water of the Yellow River is very murky. When you go down, the view is very long. Only the hook can firmly hold the corpse. But those corpses are often swollen and decayed. This hook usually brings down the corpse. Only by pulling hard can you salvage what's deep down. It is quite cruel. The body was quickly retrieved. That child's belly is really big. It is obviously beyond saving. And there is a mark on the ankle. Deep scratches. It felt as if someone had firmly grabbed my foot, which ultimately led to his drowning. Everyone present instantly thought of the scapegoat. Although the heart is troubled, still have to grit my teeth and keep fishing for it. 2 salvage team members cast their lines at the same spot again. Soon something was hooked. This time the item is pure. Like a big rock, the 2 team members exerted all their strength. Just let him slowly rise to the surface. The hook was tightly gripping the child's belly. The child's neck seemed to be entwined with something. As the body slowly rises, that thing finally revealed itself. Underneath the boy's corpse, there was actually another female corpse hanging there. The arm of this female corpse, tightly gripping the boy's neck, her eyes widened in surprise. It seems like one cannot die with eyes closed. Two team members put in a lot of effort. The two bodies have just been pulled up. The other hand of the female corpse, still maintaining the posture of grabbing something. Those present couldn't help but remember the first boy's body. There was a scratch right on his ankle. Clearly, this female corpse is the culprit responsible for the deaths of the two children. Later, it was confirmed through police investigation. This female corpse was just a few days ago Jinling, who was sent to be killed. Speaking of which, Li Zongping took a deep breath and said, "That's all for the stories from my youth. Now tell me, the bodies of my two unfortunate teammates, where exactly is it? A woman has 4 husbands in a year. Each met with an unexpected and tragic death. Is it a decline in morality? Is there another hidden reason? Jin Ling, who lives in Henan province, married 3 times in 1 year. Each person's husband, the day after everyone had rolled in bed with Jin Ling, will suddenly die. This made the villagers' elders gossip endlessly. Some say that Jin Lingming is too prosperous, born to be customer service. To put it bluntly, Jinling has poison within her body. Any man who touches her will die instantly. However, Jinling was exceptionally handsome. There are always those who aren't afraid of death coming to propose. Li Zongping from the neighboring village. He is just someone unafraid of death. Introduced by no one. Gave the Jinling family 10,000 yuan. They held a grand wedding, although Jinling had been married 3 times before. However, Li Zongping did not care at all. He just wants to be free the next day. You can continue to be happy with the beautiful Jinling. After the wedding ended, Li Zongping couldn't wait any longer. I played cards with Jinling all night. What surprised everyone was that Li Zongping surprisingly had no issues the next day. This made the men in the village extremely envious. But on the morning of the 4th day after the wedding, an accident still happened. Jin Ling, who should have been sound asleep in bed, knocked on the door of Li Zongping's parents' room, after just waking up, but found Li Zongping foaming at the mouth, has already lost consciousness. Li Zongping's parents rushed into the new house and took a look. My son is no longer awake. The ambulance hasn't turned around. Li Zongping took his last breath. Now the rumors about Jinling hiding poison inside are spreading. It's considered completely confirmed. Li Zongping's mother believes her son is out of luck. But Li Zongping's father, looking at Jinling's beautiful face, but other thoughts began to arise. Jinling before me seems to be grieving for her husband's death, heartbroken. But if you look closely, she hasn't shed a single tear. Moreover, Li Zongping has always been in good health. With a single breath, it's easy to break the rhythm of the world. Just 4 days after marrying Jinling, died with dark circles under his eyes and frothing at the mouth. What exactly happened between the two people at night? Li Zongping's father grew increasingly worried. So I secretly called the police. After the police arrived, conducted a harsh inspection and interrogation of Jinling. Knowing that Li Zongping was here before, I once had a bowl of oatmeal made by Jinling. Still in Jinling's dowry, I found a bottle of rat poison. When Jinling saw the poison mouse wall, knowing that one's crime has already begun halfway, so I took the initiative to introduce myself. The arduous journey of the Black Widow, Jinling's first husband, Sung Yun too. He is the best qualified among Jinling's many suitors. After dating for a few years, naturally they got married. Dang Jinling's mother, Jai Kengliang, after receiving several thousand yuan as a betrothal gift, everything has changed. Jai Kengliang felt that my own daughter is getting married. Then you can receive so much betrothal gift. If you get married a few more times, you would have made a fortune yourself, regretful of their youth. If only I could have a few more daughters. Now has long become a wealthy tycoon. Thus Jai Kungliang began to have ulterior motives, starting to be brainwashed by Jinling. Jinling and Song Yun got married. Jai Kungliang bought rat poison. Remind Jinling to do it on the second day of her wedding. Put the medicine in the food for Song Yun to eat. Although Jinling was scared of the outcome, I can imagine having more money in the future. Still made up my mind. Poison was fed to Song Yun too. Sure enough, it was late at night. The medicine takes effect. Song Yuntu struggled for several hours. Finally, the morning fell completely silent. In this way, Jinling teamed up with her mother, poisoned her first husband. Later, Jinling used the same method to acquire two more sums of money. Each husband never lives beyond 2 days. Will be poisoned to death by the golden spirit. Li Zongping is truly outstanding. Jinling tasted the sweetness and couldn't let go. Jinling thought about her future. You can have more husbands without any need. An endless wealth. Still, I heartlessly poisoned Li Zongping. But this time, Jinling didn't have such good luck. In the end, Jinling reconciled with her mother, was sentenced to death by law. The boy saw ghosts with his own eyes. I unexpectedly saw a 1,000-year-old poem following behind someone. This old residential building is unusual. Inside live all sorts of strange and supernatural beings. A child who can see ghosts. There was a man behind me reciting ancient poetry. Li Zongping grew up in this building. At first, he was just an ordinary child. Ever since that fever, after a serious illness, Li Zongping could then be in this building, seeing all kinds of strange creatures, especially in the dark corners. You can always see a pair of glasses without white in the eyes. Staring at him intently, there is a strange man living in this building. He wore a stern expression. His gaze was extremely sinister, always leaving at dusk, just returned in the early morning. No one knows what he actually went to do. On this day, Li Zongping followed his grandmother home. I happened to run into this man as he was leaving. A face-to-face encounter. Li Zongping realized that this man has done too many immoral things. I'm afraid there are only a few days left to live. Sure enough, looking back, a corpse was unexpectedly following the man. A ghost dressed in Qing Dynasty official robes. The ghost was very tall. His body was emaciated and pale. Rolling her eyes, she closely followed behind him. She kept blowing cold air towards the man with her mouth wide open. Li Zongping timidly said, "He carried a strange person on his back." But Li Zongping's grandmother said he was confused because of a fever. There was no one behind that man at all. Then he hurriedly took his grandson back home. This is 5 or 6 days later. Li Zongping never saw him again. This strange man. It was as if he had disappeared from that moment on. Until the residents in the apartment building, I always smell a foul odor. At first, I thought someone had forgotten to take out the trash. But later, the smell was growing stronger. The person who is being smoked cannot bear it. Li Zongping's grandmother just brought someone. Smelling the fragrance, I came to the door. There are many small advertisements posted at the entrance of this household. It seems the door hasn't been opened for several days. I don't know if it's because the family pet has died. Uncle Song from the neighborhood committee knocked on the door, but no one responded. The more he thought about it, the more something felt off. So they quickly called the police. After the police arrived, as soon as I smell this scent, I know something's wrong. So he quickly pried open the door of this house. At the moment the door opened, a foul smell hit me, almost made everyone throw up the food they just ate. Then I saw the center of the living room. A person is lying down. His body has already begun to rot. There are quite a few maggots growing. It seems like they have been dead for several days. The room is very messy. The man seemed to have fought with someone before he died. Finally, open your eyes and mouth wide. Died straight in his own living room? The police officer felt someone behind him as soon as he entered. Who is standing there, looking back? A Qing dynasty official robe hung on the wall behind. Later, after the forensic examination, the man's true cause of death was cardiac arrest. I was scared to death, and there were no other fingerprints in the room. The police are still under his bed. Find a matching box. Inside are many cultural relics. The neighbors all said, "This man is actually a grave robber. Strip this official robe from the corpse. I originally wanted to make a fortune. Who knows that they have done too many deeds that harm their virtue?" Finally faced retribution. The owner of this official robe followed closely behind. Scared to death, a man catches a mysterious giant black fish. From then on, haunted by the ghostly woman, he could find no peace. Li Zongping developed a particular fondness for fishing after his retirement. Often with my neighbor, Uncle Song, let's go fishing together in the wild river in the city. Fishing all day long, simply cannot get enough of it. On this day, Li Zongping saw a fish in the river, a big black fish over a meter long. This fish is completely jet black, looks very sturdy. This really upset Li Zongping. At this age, I've never seen a fish this big. If I reel this back in for him, it'll be dull. How delicious that must be! Li Zongping wiped the tears from the corner of his mouth, called Uncle Song to the river bank. He was determined to reel in this fish. Two people squatted by the river for 3 days and nights. Just caught a few small fish. Even the gaps between the scattered buds aren't enough. His wife kept urging him to go home and water a public grain. This left Li Zongping in deep distress. Just when Li Zongping didn't know what to do, the fish float in the river stirred. The fishing float moved a few times. With a whoosh, it plunged into the water. At a glance, it's clear that a big fish has taken the bait. Indeed, after raising the fishing rod, it just felt unusually heavy over there. Li Zongping used the tactic of watering the public grain. Finally caught that big black fish I've been dreaming of day and night. I caught it. Hurrying home, I urged my wife to cut this fish. Make sure to recover well. Li Zongping's wife said, "This fish intestine is quite large and not easy to handle. Why not just release them?" Li Zongping, however, does not care about this. Having made up her mind to eat fish, and even personally killed the fish, a lot of hextech was spilled. It was stewed into a creamy, delicious fish soup. Li Zongping smelled the fragrance and said, "This is the flavor. I've been eating for so many years, and now I can't eat. It's hard for me." After putting a large piece of fish meat into his mouth, Li Zongping's expression changed instantly. The fish smells delicious, but it tastes old and tough. There was a strong, fishy odor. It's simply inedible. It's simply impossible to swallow. This left Li Zongping completely devoid of appetite. I can only pour this big pot of high-tech fish soup into the trash can. After that, everything was peaceful. But by midnight, Li Zongping was hit by a wave. The woman's sobbing woke me up. That voice floated softly. "It feels just like being at home." Li Zongping sat up abruptly from the bed. Mysteriously, I found myself in my own kitchen. As soon as I walked in, Li Zongping was stunned, frozen in place by the scene before him. On the garbage bin in the corner of the cupboard, a completely naked beauty is actually floating. The crying sound was coming from the woman's mouth, crying continuously, when the woman saw Li Zongping frozen at the door. The tears in his eyes suddenly turned blood red. The fierce figure lunged at Li Zongping, still screaming in his mouth for Li Zongping to return his life. Li Zongping was so scared that he collapsed onto the ground. I didn't dare to move at all. It wasn't until the next morning that the family discovered it. After that day, I fell seriously ill. After staying in the hospital for over 10 days, I finally returned home. Uncle Song came to visit him after returning. The two talked about this strange event. Uncle Song felt that this fish tasted both fishy and stinky when he heard this. Suddenly remembered a saying from folklore. It is said that fish will eat the corpses that sink to the bottom of the river. Fish that eat dead bodies will grow big and fat. Not only that, if this person died unjustly, then the fish would smell extremely foul. Moreover, the vengeful spirit of the deceased will attach itself to the big fish, entangle those who consume fish and meat. Li Zongping heard that he had eaten human flesh. A churn in my stomach again. The more I think about it, the more it seems true. Li Zongping was also afraid of being haunted by vengeful spirits. So he called the local recovery team. A net was cast into the river. Sure enough, a skeleton was retrieved from that river. But those bones have been in the river for many years. The owner of this skeleton is indeed the victim of a murder. Li Zongping also gave up his hobby of fishing from then on. The list was only because of a glance at the solitary ghost of the yellow bandit. The female ghost troubled him every night, insisting on marrying him. My name is Li Zongping, and I've been a sharpshooter since childhood. Just entered university, curious about everything at school. The area around the new school is quite desolate, but the scenery is very humorous. Students from the school often gather on weekends to go for a spring outing. My 3 shooting buddies and I are no exception, even though I only spent a week with them. But relying on my ability to shoot cattle, we are already calling each other brothers. It was Saturday. We climbed the mountain path. The goal is the Buddhist temple at the mountain top. But when they reached halfway up the mountain, suddenly someone in front shouted. It seems like they've discovered something extraordinary. We rushed over to take a look. There is a mound not far from the mountain path. As I got closer, I realized that the style of this tomb mound is not like the modern ones, and due to the passage of time, the inscription on the stone tablet has become quite blurred. I have been very interested in ancient architecture since I was young. I just glanced at this mound of grave a few times. Unknowingly, it seems a long time has passed. It wasn't until I was suddenly pushed by a head that I snapped back to reality from the brick column. But I noticed that several of my roommates were looking at me with a very strange and fearful expression. I felt very uncomfortable. After that day, they often gathered together to whisper. As soon as I get close, they will pretend that nothing happened. What's even stranger is that I have a habit of neatly arranging my slippers before going to bed. But that day, after returning from the mountain, my slippers are always crooked and misaligned. It still has dirt on it, as if pierced by water. Ask them to send the head. It just means that no one dares to touch my things. A few days passed again. I returned to the dormitory, but found that the 3 of them were packing their luggage. Only by asking did I realize that they all applied to leave through the drug route. Ask about the reasons for his complaint. They just stammer and brush me off. Suddenly, I was the only one left in the entire dorm. That afternoon at 2 o'clock, I was lying in bed reading a novel. I originally planned to read just 2 pages before going to play ball. I had just flicked through 2 pages in a daze. The dormitory door was pushed open. The dormitory supervisor urged me to go down for dinner. I looked at the clock and it was already 5:30. But I've only turned 2 pages. How did it become evening so quickly? All these strange events leave me utterly bewildered. Moreover, the Song people suddenly shrank back collectively. The root of my illness must be within me. So I made up my mind, deliberately kidnapped Song Ren's head. I want to ask what they all know. Under my repeated threats, Song Ren too finally revealed the truth to me. It turns out that day the three of us went hiking. I stood in front of the grave, rolling my eyes, for a long time. The Song people kept calling me. I seemed to not hear anything either. This is not over yet. Later, I held the orchid branch, sang the lyrics of Peking opera, until they pushed me forcefully for a long time. I just woke up, but I completely don't remember these. Not only that, after coming back from the mountain, I started to sleepwalk. Circling in the washroom, still use your head to smash against the wall. While crashing, he shouted, "You deserve to die, you deserve to die." Song Ren and his group gathered together. I guess I am the owner of that grave mound on the mountain. Possession bird. For self-preservation, they just moved out of the dorm together. After listening to Song Ren too's narration, I was so angry that I punched him hard. I usually treat them like good brothers. Wearing stockings together, there are scammers watching together. In the end, everyone fled when disaster struck. You didn't even give me a hint. But this is not something I can solve, so I could only bite the bullet. I called that irresponsible dad of mine. When my father heard about this, they started off by giving me a scolding. I'm not afraid of getting styes either. Even the nameless grave dares to stare back. Criticism is fine. My father rushed to the school overnight. Under my guidance, we arrived at that nameless grave again. When we arrived at the grave, my father took out from the box, take out a large copper basin, burning incense money in front of the tombstone, muttering while burning my mouth. I hope the grave owner can spare me. But who knew that the copper basin suddenly began to shake out of nowhere? It also emitted a buzzing sound. The flames surged several times higher. My father knows. The grave owner won't let me go. So he let out harsh words. I said I know a few new yin-yang gods. If we invite them over, I'm afraid the tomb will scatter the souls. Say it directly. The buzzing of the copper basin gradually became softer. It seems I agreed to no longer entangle myself. My father let out a breath. Burn the remaining paper money. Then pour the ash into a plastic bag. He took me down the mountain. My father didn't say a word the entire way, but I looked at his back. It's already wet in one area. After that day, my life returned to normal, although it's known that schools are often built on graveyards. Such a strange thing. This is my first time seeing it. I also encountered unfamiliar graves. Never stare at it. Be careful, they come after you. A small broken bell that escaped from a puddle. It is the hidden soul bell that can control the white ghost. From then on, I married a beautiful and wealthy woman. Reaching the peak of life, my name is Li Zongping. A pair of tattered twins escaped from a street stall a few days ago. The bell was engraved with mysterious charms. Just a glance, I was deeply captivated by the pair of bells. But the boss offered a bonus of 500 days. They say this bell is an old artifact from the palace. It has been blessed by the master. It was originally hanging by Empress Dowager Cixi's bedside. As long as Empress Dowager Cixi doesn't hear the sound of this bell for a day, will lead to insomnia. I listened to my boss bragging. Nothing has changed. Just want to laugh. Hastily offered her a price of 50 yuan. Who knew the boss would happily agree? I gritted my teeth and paid for the bell. Listen carefully for a moment. The more I watch, the more I like it. And I also feel it seems like there is a secret hidden in this bell, waiting for me to begin. So I made a new bracelet with the bell. I plan to take it with me every day from now on. Turn your luck around for yourself. I never expected that since I put it on, my peach blossom luck is really starting to flourish. The female colleagues at the company, they are all interested in the bell in my hand. As time went on, I also met the stunning beauty Jin Lion at the company. But good luck didn't last long. Strange things started to happen just as I was taking Zion to the bathroom. Due to boredom, I fiddled with the copper bell while squatting. The sound of ringing bells, a clear sound in the bathroom at the right moment. When I heard it, I almost blurted it out. At that moment, I suddenly had a feeling. Outside the restroom where I am, it seems like someone is standing there. This sense of oppression makes me very uneasy. I hurried back. Faintly, I could see a dark shadow outside the door. The dark figure continued to move slowly toward me. I didn't have time to enjoy the pleasure of taking a dump first. He hurriedly pulled up his pants. I carefully opened the door to the compartment, but did not see anything terrifying. The bathroom is empty and silent. It turns out I'm all alone. I calmed my excited heart, doubting whether it's been recent. Seeing too many beautiful women can lead to illusions. Just as I was about to wash my hands and go out, in the mirror, a menacing shadow appeared. The shadow quickly moved towards me. It was about to sneak up behind me. I screamed, an instinctive turn, and leaned back, but there was nothing behind me. From this day on, I always feel like something is following me. Sometimes it's just one person. Sometimes it's a group of people, especially in the pitch black night. This feeling is the clearest. By a stroke of luck, I finally understand. Strange things have been happening to me lately. The cause is this pair of broken bells. Uncle Song, known as the dragon of the village, is a prominent figure. As soon as they saw the bell on my wrist, her expression changed 3 times. They eagerly asked me where these copper bells came from. After I told him the truth, again took my bell. After examining it carefully for half a day, Uncle Song not only officiates at funerals, there are still some mysterious and spooky matters, is also quite skilled. Uncle Song thought for a moment. He said to me with a furrowed brow, "How dare you? How could you wear something like this on your wrist? This is the hidden soul bell. It is an object specifically for the dead. In the past, medical conditions were underdeveloped. Many people are just in a state of suspended animation, but would be buried as if truly dead, waking up after being buried only to find myself trapped in a coffin, then suffocated to death. This bell is meant to prevent such things. If someone wakes up in a coffin, as long as you shake the copper bell in your hand, those outside can hear it. It is said that this kind of bell, there is another usage. Just after a person dies, entering the underworld, you must hand this bell to the guiding He and Bai Wucheng. The Yin Chai will hang a bell on their waist. The sound of jingling rings as they walk, guiding the souls to the path of the underworld. Now you hang the bell on your hand. Many lonely souls and wild ghosts are following you. They caused a huge commotion. Your vital energy simply can't be suppressed. Over time, you can see strange things. You will still be used as a scapegoat by them. By then, it might be too late for regrets. When I heard Uncle Song say this, their expressions changed 3 times. No wonder I always see those strange things. I still feel like there are a